Good evening. Tonight we're going to be making tavern bread and some honey baked apples. So let's get into it. For the tavern bread, where I need baking powder, mild cheddar cheese, summer sausage, whole wheat flour, unbleached flour, there we go, brain fart, buttermilk, and then we're going to need a teaspoon, a tablespoon, 1 cup, a knife. I don't have a chopping board, so I'm going to use a paper plate to chop up my meat and cheese. Alright, so let's start by preheating the oven to, I believe it said 450. So, right, so it says 1 cup unbleached flour. I am not sponsored by any of these companies you see here before you. So, 1 cup unbleached flour. No longer need that. Then 2 cups whole wheat flour. Alright, so we're done with that. No, because we're going to need that one for the buttermilk later. So let's get that out of the way now. Oh, I forgot one ingredient. So we're going to need half a teaspoon salt. I know I said half, but this is a 1/4, so I need 2 of those. So now we're done with the salt. And then 2 teaspoons baking powder. So I'm going to need 8 of those spoons I got there. It's 1. That's 2. Alright, so now we need to mix this, which that won't be hard. Now we need 1 cup summer sausage. It did say if you were to do this in chunks, but I'm just going to assume so. So we're going to cut this into cubes until we fill up 1 cup here. So start with that. Don't worry, I will take that skin off. Now those are about the right size. What go big? You have food, sweetie. I know you do. You want a piece of summer sausage? Okay. There you go. Well, looks like I might have cut a few too many off that log. That's alright. Better a little extra than a little short. So. No longer need that. So. There we go. We got 1 cup summer sausage. Now we need to do 1 cup cheddar cheese, and I'll do the same thing. I'm going to cut it into cubes. Probably don't see me do that, but I'll just show you the first one, and then I'll pause you and bring it back when we do the milk. Okay, so 1 cup cheddar cheese, and it also said 1 to 2 cups buttermilk. So we're gonna try 1 cup, see how that looks. It also says to create a well in the center, so let's make a nice little well. So we're gonna see how 1 cup works, and if it's not quite moist enough, I think then we're adding 2. We might do 1.5 just to be a little on the safe side. So. It's 1. Now let's give that a mix. Bread is actually a very old food. It's been, well, the Native Americans around here use acorns instead of wheat to make their bread. And then there's been just cultures all over the world that had different ways of making bread. In fact, the Gauls, during the time of the Roman Empire, would skim the froth off mead and use that to make a type of almost like a biscuit. Right, so this is still pretty dry. So I think I'm going to add that other cup in. Now it says you should oil your cast iron. I don't have a cast iron pan, so I'm just going to use a normal baking pan. And, well, we'll see how that works out for me. Like, I don't normally cook. I don't normally do breads either. But this, I feel very confident about what I'm about to do. So, oh yeah, that's very well mixed. Alright, so let me ungooify my hands real quick. I'll oil up that cooking pan. Our oven is almost to temperature. Alright, so let's get all that off as much as we can anyway. Whoops. Alright, our oven's up to temperature. I still gotta oil the pan. So, bear with me. Alright, so I have our pan. We're going to take a little bit of a paper towel. Take the cap off our olive oil. Oil this up. Alright. It's pretty greasy. Now we're going to take our dough. Okay, Kyle, don't be an idiot. So, we're going to take our dough. It says you should make a loaf out of it. I think I'm just going to try to make it fit this as best as I can. It says you want to bake it on 450 for about 10 minutes. Decrease your heat to 35. And then let it bake for an additional 30 to 35 minutes. So, I'm fairly happy with that. Okay, so, into the oven. Alright, so we're going to put this in the oven for 10 minutes. Set a timer, and while that's baking, let's prepare our apples. For our honey baked apples, we're going to need 4 apples, honey, raisins, oatmeal, teaspoon, a cup, and of course a baking dish. The apples need to have the cores removed and then split in half. So let's do that first. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to cut them in half first. Decore them. So that's 1. 2. It says you want them to be sitting upright. We will deal with that momentarily. Now let's get the other 3 apples. Apples actually play an important part in Norse mythology. It is the goddess Idun's golden apples that actually keep the Asgardians and the Vanir youthful. It's the golden apples of youth that she picks, that she feeds to the gods. So the Norse gods, as far as I'm aware, are some of the only few gods who can actually die from old age. So if it wasn't for Idun, there'd be no Thor, no Odin, no Loki even. And our timer's about to go off, so I need to lower the heat on the loaf. But first, let's see if it's risen any. Oh yeah, it's definitely risen. The cheese is bubbling nicely. Almost looks like a very big biscuit. So, let's lower our heat to 375 and let it cook for another half hour. Okay, so we have our apples cored and split. Now we need half a cup of oatmeal. A fourth a cup of fourth a cup of raisins. Okay, there's fourth a cup of raisins. And then we need 4 teaspoons of honey. And because I have 1/4, I'm going to need 16 of them. So instead of dragging you through that process, once I get the honey added in, I'll bring you back. Okay, so now that I have our mixture added, now we're just going to mix it until it's, I imagine, all fairly sticky and goopy. And my phone's doing that thing where it's running on storage and stopping. So this is where I'm going to start and stop up again. So, see you in the next starting point. So now we're going to take our mixture, take our apple halves, and just stuff it with this. Alright, and again, like I said, I'll see you in the next starting point, just so I can upload this video. Add enough water in the pan to cover the bottom, place in the center of the stove at 350, and bake for 40 minutes. Okay, as you see, I have my Tavern Bread, my baked apple, and my drinking horn full of water, because I still need to be a responsible adult. So let's dive into it. So we got a nice crispy outside and a soft inside. Definitely like a biscuit, but with cheese and summer sausage. So and that's almost like a crustless apple pie. I'm gonna call this a success. So I'm gonna leave the recipe and the instructions in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next project.